Congratulations, you've done it again. In spite of all the obstacles, in spite of a lack of sleep, in spite of everything else, you have made it to Hump Day, Wednesday, middle of the week, 2 days away from Monday, 2 days closer to the weekend. And for that, we give you the following reward. Hi, how are you doing out there in internet land? My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. This is Chattin on the Porch. A fun, lively little live stream that we do Monday through Thursday night, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, 5:30 Mountain, what the heck ever they do out there in the Pacific. I have no idea. I'm not sure they know what they do in the Pacific. But anyway, we're here. We're having fun. We're going to have fun. We're having fun, damn it. Yeah, you get my idea. We're on Rumble. We're on Twitter. And we are on that quaint little social media platform known as YouTube. So please, if you are not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do so. Also, hit the bell for notifications. Hit the thumbs up. Leave some comments in chat. Share the link around. Do all those fun little things that you guys are famous for doing to help grow this little channel and make it something that is going to be big and fancy and fun as the years go by. And we are planning on being here for a lot of years, God willing. And health holds up, and I can pay the electric bill, and the cable bill, and StreamYard, and, well, never mind, you get the point. Anyway, again, my name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, sometimes known as the beau in the chapeau, sometimes known as the common man with common sense, but I am known as one thing above all else, your host. Again, we are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. I call them quaint and alternative because their ideas about free speech are very quaint and quite alternative. Hence, that's why we also live stream on Rumble and any place else they'll have us. Respecting or self-respecting or not self-respecting. You get the idea. We're glad you're here. It's Wednesday night. Let's get right to it. Talk to you guys. Let's see who's over here. The Wingnuts are out in force already. WWG1 says, good evening, all. Good evening, WWG1. The elder statesman of the Wingnuts. TBA says, greetings, Fedora Nation. Last night seemed like a lot of fun, especially for those. Yeah, we did. We had quite a bit of fun. It was a good time for everybody. And we're going to have some conversation, the post-mortem on the vice presidential debate, because that debate, for all the things that it wasn't, was a lot of things that I don't think even I expected. But we'll get into that momentarily. All right, let's see who's over on the YouTube side. Let's see who else here. Well, looky here. Now we got a race to see who can be first in. Well, hello, Motard. You are first in the room, and for that you get a hat tip. Good evening, Motard. Good evening, dear. Well, long time no see. My goodness gracious. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Greetings and salivations. Man, I saw a picture today of Zia Anderson on Twitter, and yeah, I was salivating. All right, Lord, that girl. Whew, mercy. Love that woman. She just. He wasn't the only one drooling, my dear. Let's just be that, okay? He wasn't the only one drooling. All right. Oh, so you're gonna blame it on the fried chicken and the iced tea. Well, that's fine. That's what you got to do. I understand. Me, I'll just be honest about it. I just saw a picture of Zia Anderson, and I just, you know. What can I say? I'm a boy, you know. Good evening, Gypsy, and my dear. Oh, and I found the meme you sent me. Thank you, dear. And you know what? Just because you're all worth it. Oh, goodness. So glad to have y'all. I know M169. I'm not Camelot, but you know what? I do what I can. What can I tell you? Anyway, TBA over on Rumble says, looks like the Jezebel witch is begging for another debate after tampon shellacking last. I saw that. And I got bad news for her. Nope. And again, I could be wrong. Donald Trump might wake up and get a case of stupid some morning between now and November 5th, but I don't think he wants to, and I don't think he will. Oh, Oh, you like that comment about Camelot? Huh? Okay, well, there you go. Anyway, glad to have you guys here. We're going to get back to normal scheduling, so to speak, in that we have quite a few memes to review. And by the way, WWG1, if you want to throw in that meme, those couple of memes you sent me Monday night, if you've got access to them, you know, shoot them into chat now. I'll pop them up there. If not, we'll save them for tomorrow night. But yeah, we're back on normal schedule of things because Monday night was kind of a very somber sort of a tone, in that we were discussing a lot of the devastation that had come out of Hurricane Helene through Georgia and the Carolinas, Tennessee, etc. And oh well, WWG1 apparently has very quick access to those memes. Alrighty then. So give me a second, folks. I got to pop these in here. Do. Y'all talk amongst yourselves for a second. Blah 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 blah. Okay. That's one. And okay, and I just found the other. Give me 1 second here. Oh, yeah. That one's going. Yeah, that Twilight Zone one's going right to the front. WWG1, that one having to do with the yard signs. You got to help me out here. I can read it, but I'm trying to understand what were they doing? Taking down Trump signs? What are they doing? Oh, okay. All right. I think I know how I want to handle this one. All right. Yeah. Okay. There we go. All right. Oh, honey. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. See, ladies and gentlemen, if you've never been here before, there is a reason why I say I have got the best audience on the internet. And not only do I say it, they prove it. Because about 9 times out of 10, they're already about 3 steps ahead of me before I can even get to the topic. So, there you go. TBA says, okay, all right, we'll see. Oh yeah, I saw that too. I haven't necessarily got the story pulled up, but yeah, I can get to it real quick in the Nightcap section. So anyway, I tell you what, let's dive right in. We got a lot of stuff to do. Everyone has said in one form or another that this year is like something straight out of the Twilight Zone, that legendary show from back in the day. So, but then again, it kind of makes sense when you consider the following. Imagine, if you will, a country run by an Alzheimer's patient and a whore. Maybe old Rod was onto something here, folks. Just saying. Imagine, if you will, a country run by an Alzheimer's patient and a whore. Yeah, buddy. Good evening, Brenda. How are you doing, dear? How come retired career politicians are sponsoring other candidates in Wisconsin? I have been seeing RFK ads like crazy online by this pack. Suspicious. Now that is, that's interesting. Why do I get the distinct impression the Democrats are forming a pack to try and get people to vote for RFK, even though he said vote for Trump? I'll bet you that's exactly where they're going with this. Oh, my God. Anyway, so I want to thank that Twilight Zone. I want to thank WWG1 for that one. And he's got another one here. And I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in chat for everybody on the YouTube side. I know that WWG1 has dropped this on the Rumble side, but just so I can say I did the same thing. Yeah, TBA says retired rhinos are funding anti-Trump candidates. LOL. Yeah, buddy. Look, we're almost down to 30 days. The level of palpable desperation is going to get bad. Ruben, I love you, but 9 months at this point may be about all I can take. If I can get through the election without losing my mind, that's going to be a miracle. But then 2 more months after that, hold on to yourself, because it's going to hurt like hell. Sarah McLachlan had no idea how prophetic that chick was going to be. TBA says desperation. Nah, that's panic. Yeah, you're probably right. And I got to put my glasses on, guys. My eyes are starting to bother me. I think it's time for me to go get the peepers checked. Anywho, all right. We have some advice. I guess maybe this is the best way, kind of psychological advice of how to handle the question of when your yard sign goes down. You've got three kinds of people. You've got the story time folks who take care of, who take down signs, and they say the following: "Be me, Trump supporter, Trump sign outside of triggering mostly millennial college, constantly getting run over and pulled out. Think of idea, plant nails and wait." Yeah, all kinds of ideas here about the different kind of personalities that make up people who remove signs. So I'll let you guys take a look at that one. It's pretty good. It is pretty good. Let's see. The "Oh Lord, my sides." She says I don't reimburse her for the tire. Sudden idea. Tells her to leave information so I can get sent around check. Actually does it. Call my lawyer. Get set up by a lawsuit. Get cameras outside. Then the no proof. Says she can't pay for basic living expenses. Base judge says you should have thought of that before tearing down someone's property. She gets tires destroyed. Oh yeah, this is a really good story. This is really good. WWG1, much thanks for this. Much thanks indeed. All right. See what else we have here. And we'll also check in on some comments. Tragically, Gypsy, I think you're right. I really do think you're right. I'm taking the 4th through the 8th off. I'll be celebrating or grieving. Help me not to grieve, people. Dear, we're going to do our best. That's all I can tell you. We're going to do our best. We're absolutely going to do our best. Blocked Ad Runner over on Rumble. Hey, y'all. Brian W. Good evening, Blocked Ad Runner. Glad to have you here with us. Did I have a good day at work? Wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad. Not too bad at all. All right, let's get on with the memes, because we got some analysis to get into. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we have some updates about the whole Kamala working at McDonald's. Hello, Miss Tracy. Mwah. Hello, lover. How you doing tonight? You want me to throw you a link? I'll throw you a link, darling. Just give me a yay. I'll put it to you on Twitter. So just let me know. Be interested to hear some of your thoughts on what we're going to be talking about tonight. Yeah. Now we have. Okay. All right. Give me a second here. Hang on. I'll be sending it to you vis-a-vis Twitter. So. Yeah, that's fine. I'll give you the time. No problem. Like I said, look for it on your Twitter DMs. Give me 1 second here, folks. All right, darling. I just sent it to you. Check your DMs on Twitter. All right. We have an update about the whole controversy surrounding Kamala Harris and McDonald's, her employment. And apparently, we now have actual pictures of her working at McDonald's. Now, you think I'm joking about this. I'm not. We have actual photographic evidence that she was working at McDonald's. There's a lot of different things you could be doing at McDonald's. Apparently, she was involved in the hospitality aspects of the job, as clearly can be seen by this photograph. And, oh my God! I did not proof this ahead of time. My God, folks, what she's. Oh my word! This is very untoward. I am so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't look. Someone gave me this picture. I thought, okay, photographic evidence of Kamala Harris working at McDonald's. Little did I realize that it would turn into all of this. How untoward. Look at what she's doing to poor Ronald. My God. Yes, TBA, I disavow. I disavow very quickly. My God. Blocked Amber says, don't worry about it. It's PG-13. Well, geez. Anyway, well, apparently we now have proof Kamala did work at McDonald's. So there you go. Oh, yeah. Poor Ronald is right. Poor Ronald. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true too, man. That is absolutely true. And good evening, Ruben. Glad to have you here, brother. By the way, thank you and thank Darius for last night. You guys were awesome. Totally awesome. So yeah, we now have proof, folks. The controversy's over. Kamala Harris did indeed work at McDonald's. All right, moving on in the Merry Memes section of the show. As you might expect, given what we're going to be talking about tonight, it is kind of quite obvious that you would, after what happened last night in the vice presidential debate, that there'd be various memes related to the throwdown between Vance and Waltz. And I'm not really going to introduce them. They just kind of sort of speak for themselves. There are some life lessons to be learned from last night's debate. For example, never, ever go full Tim Walz. I think Robert Downey Jr. would be very proud of this meme, by the way. I really do. I think he would wholly endorse this meme and most certainly would not disavow. TBA says, the best one was the stare from JD. We'll get to that, brother. Just hang on. We will get to that. Ruben. Oh, my word. That comment on the YouTube side. Oh, my. I disavow heartily, but I am laughing. Oh, goodness. Goodness me. Yeah, just, oh, my word. Another life lesson that you can take from last night's debate is be very careful of the expressions on your face, because if it's not the fodder for a meme, it's probably a true representation of your feelings. And last night, quite literally, you could say that Tim Walz had a deer in the headlight look. There's just no doubt about it. I mean, just that whole, sans the glasses and the very good looking hat, by the way. So yeah, be very careful the expression that you leave on your face. It might come back to haunt you in more ways than one. Yep. Timmy! Yep, you got that right. Every time I hear that, I think of South Park, just immediately. All right, what else have we got in the way of the Merry Memes? Now, TBA talked about the stare. Well, I don't know if this is quite what he had in mind, but Blocked Adder says, looks more like the oops, I farted look. Well, it could be that too. The split screens last night were really pretty good. And frankly, I think whoever put this one together had a really good idea. I mean, honestly, folks, Tim Walz has a little bit more hair than Elmer Fudd, but honestly, can you say the person that made this meme is wrong? Seriously? I'm just saying. Well, looky here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a guest. And she was gracious enough to risk her professional internet reputation hanging out on my channel. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in Tracy Barkley from Gen X Marks the Spot. How you doing, darling? Hello?
Hey.
Okay, there you are. All right, we're good. How you doing, darling?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on. This is an awesome surprise.
No. I saw you in chat, and we're going to be going over some thoughts about the debate, and I thought, well, you know what? Let's do it. I mean, one of my favorite people on the internet. Let's just bring her in and see what she's got to say. And let me do one last meme. Like I say, be very careful the expression on your face or how you are perceived, because, it's the fodder for a meme. So, and I got to thank Up in Connecticut for this one. So There you go. Yep. It's there's a lot of crying last night. A lot of crying. So, anywho, so all right, did you watch the debate last night? I got to ask you.
I did.
Okay.
I sat and I watched the whole thing, and then I logged off. I didn't watch any opinions. I logged off, and I
Okay.
slept on it. And I got up this
Okay.
morning and I thought about it while I was working, formed my own opinions. Then I watched some other opinions on it.
All right.
And I think Vance did phenomenally. I think he did just what he needed to do and showed the voters who he is, that he's just a normal guy, highly educated, but just a normal guy, that he's clear and concise, and that he's not as weird as be. And I think he exposed that Waltz is not the fun-loving football coach and teacher that everybody's. So I think JD Vance did a phenomenal job and did exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah, that debate was kind of interesting, and that there were people who were listening in on my live stream, and they were like, "Why didn't he bring up this? Why didn't he talk about that?" You know, and for the record, I can understand where they're coming from, because there's a lot of things JD Vance could have gone after Tim Walz on. I mean, the tampons in the boys' bathroom, I mean, he could have gone after him on abortion a whole lot harder than what he did. You know, driver's licenses to illegal aliens. I mean, just a whole bunch of really progressive lefty stuff that you wouldn't think coming out of a Midwestern governor, Democrat or Republican, but especially a Democrat. And I can't disagree with that analysis. I can't. You know, but on the whole, but the funny thing about it is, because I started thinking about it after I logged off everything last night, I thought, you know what? Yeah, he did leave some stuff on the table. Ain't no doubt about that. And like I said, I can't disagree with anybody, you know, who came to that opinion in my live stream at all. I'm not mentioning any names, you know, and I'm not saying they're wrong or I'm right or vice versa. I'm just saying this is their take. So I can't necessarily disagree with them. But the funny thing about it is, for what JD Vance did last night, and I didn't really get a chance to watch media reaction to this until today. But what he did last night apparently sent such a shockwave through the media and the Democrat Party, and that's Vance, I'm saying, is it just absolutely freaked everybody out. I got a couple of headlines, and I'll just pop them up here. This one's straight off the New York Times. Yeah. Vance's dominant performance shows why he's Trump's running mate, by Ross Douthat. Now, you know, not that I'm that familiar with Ross Douthat's writing, but writing for the New York Times, you can't exactly figure that this guy is going to be, oh, that didn't work very well. That didn't work either. Wait a minute. All right, there we go. Yeah, me and technology. You got to figure he's not exactly a right winger here, but I mean, that headline on the op-ed page of the New York Times says a lot. And then worse than that for the Democrats, you've got this one from Mediaite. I'm a knucklehead. Walz gives disastrous answer when questioned on inaccurate claims debate. And when you lose Mediaite, you have royally screwed the pooch.
Well, this has happened. The Washington Post has given several favorable op-eds to Trump over the course of this election cycle. I mean, and CNN has come more and more to the middle. It's frightening how some of the mainstream medias are turning against this ticket. Now, do I think the media is cleaning up their act? No. But I do think they're turning against this ticket because they're so unbelievably bad.
You know, you're not the only person that said that about CNN. I've had folks in my live chat, in my live stream, and other people on social media have been noticing CNN is actually like, you know, to quote the legendary Rush Limbaugh, they are engaging in a random act of journalism. Mm-hmm. I mean, for some strange reason, and maybe it's because they realize, crap, if we don't do something, we're not going to have any viewers left.
Last night, one of their talking heads, for lack
Yes.
of a better term,
Yeah.
literally said that it was clear that Waltz was underprepared for this debate, and she was very disappointed. And of course, what's her face? She's somebody that's pretty close to Kamala. She came in and said, "No, I think he was overprepared. He had so much in his head that he wanted to get out." And I'm just like, really, really.
Yeah. I think that might have been over on MSNBC, and
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of copium they're drinking over there, but God bless them. I mean, I give them credit for at least trying.
At least Rachel Maddow's honest, and we know she's never going to give a Republican good prop. At least she's honest. That she, I admire her for at least being honest and saying what she thinks.
Up in Connecticut, hold on to this thought, because I got a little bit of verification for you here in a minute. Mm-hmm. But I've got a clip from the debate, and to me, there were a lot of there's any number you could play, but to me, this one I think accurately sums up the problem that Tim Walz had last night. Because I mean, and I'm going to do something tonight that I know is going to get me in trouble with friends of mine on the electronic front porch. I'm actually going to express sympathy for Walz.
Split screen did him no favors last night.
There's that, and there's a couple other aspects of it, but I want to play this one clip, and just to kind of set the table for those discussions down the line. Because like I said, I kept thinking about, well, I'll go ahead and get into a little bit of this before I play the clip. Look, even Walz admitted before he ever went into this thing, he's not the world's best debater. Okay. He's not a practiced lawyer. He comes from a background in education, which, okay, fine. We can sit here and debate the merits of that, especially if you're going to be in the world of politics.
Yeah. Why are you in politics at all if you're not a good speaker?
Yeah.
Why are you a teacher? I was a teacher. I don't necessarily like speaking in front of people, but I think I could have put on a better performance than Waltz last night.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, I think
and it was just 4 of them in the room.
Yeah, I think that obviously the 2 comments that he made last night that hurt him anything else, quote, "I'm a knucklehead," and 2, "I'm friends with school shooters." And that second one is the one where I almost felt sorry for him. Now, before some of my folks on my live stream get like, "What you mean?" Just listen to me for a second. I'm not going to, let me put it this way. How many times, and I'll just speak for myself, how many times has there been what I'm thinking versus what I'm saying? And his brain was thinking one thing, his mouth said another, and in the heat of the moment, he let slip a comment that anybody could have done.
Yeah, I'm sure he meant school shooting survivors.
Exactly.
I'm sure that's what he meant.
Exactly.
But it was the wrong place at the wrong time for that to happen.
And the thing is, no matter how sympathetic I or anybody else might feel for the poor guy, which, by the way, I am not excusing any of his actions as governor of Minnesota, which has done harm to children or adults or made the lives of the people of Minnesota less than what they would have if they had a different governor. I'm not excusing any of that. I'm just saying, in that human moment. Okay. No, and Gypsy, yeah, you're about to make, yeah, I agree with you. He can't be allowed to make that mistake. As sympathetic as I or anybody else might feel for him, he is running for vice president, and I totally agree with this.
What if he's talking to Putin and he's thinking in his head, "You son of a bitch," and it comes out of his mouth?
Exactly. And no matter how sympathetic a person might feel for the poor guy in that moment.
Now that's an extreme, but
yeah. Well, but your point's well taken. If he can't control his mouth in a debate, what's he going to do if he actually were to get into office? He is running for vice president of the United States, and daggone it, you cannot make that kind of error. You're not allowed to make that kind of error in a nationally televised debate.
Now, to be fair, has Trump probably called Putin a sumbitch to his face? Probably. My money's on probably. Trump can get away with it.
I'd take that bet. Yeah,
but Trump can get away with it. Waltz could not get away with that.
No. Vladimir would just call up somebody in the former KGB and do some very nasty things to his person. But anyway, I've got a clip here that kind of summed up Walz's whole problem, and I think JD Vance in this moment truly summed up the problem that Tim Walz had. And guys, give me a sound check. Let me know if we're coming through on this. Here we go. Oh, don't you dare.
Honestly, Tim, I think you got a tough job here because you've got to play whack-a-mole. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver rising take-home pay, which of course he did. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver lower inflation, which of course he did. And then you simultaneously got to defend Kamala Harris's atrocious economic record, which has made gas, groceries, and housing unaffordable for American citizens. I was raised by a woman who would sometimes go into medical debt so that she could put food on the table in our household. I know what it's like to not be able to afford the things that you need to afford. We can do so much better. To all of you watching, we can get back to an America that's affordable again. We just got to get back to common sense economic principles.
Okay. Now, this is just me. I think Vance is absolutely right. You've got a bad problem here. You've got to actually pretend like none of the things happened that happened under Donald Trump's administration and somehow totally ignore everything that's happened while Kamala Harris has been vice president. And the other thing in that clip that stands out to me, Walz is constantly looking back and forth. He's writing down notes. It just comes across.
Yeah. He was looking at Vance, looking at the camera, looking at Vance, looking at the camera.
Yeah.
Because he didn't know what to do.
I mean, this is small time. This is so true. Absolutely. He lost the body language battle. Big time. Totally. Go ahead, dear.
No. He just did not know what to do with himself because he knew what everything Vance was saying was absolutely correct. And he was, when you look back and forth, in my opinion, you're thinking for something you can say.
No.
To say that it's the real life equivalent of loading of the loading circle, and it wasn't loading. Buffering. Yeah. He was buffering.
Oh yeah, and when you're losing David Axelrod, and I've got a few media clips here in just a second, but yeah, said that Walz would have been better defending Tiananmen Square comment in oh God. Now I did not hear that, but from Axelrod, that's actually funny. Keep in mind, I don't think Axelrod has a sense of humor, but that's actually pretty good. But I mean, that's the problem that Walz had all night long, and the part that blew my mind is when I started seeing the instant who won the debate polls. This is the part that really got to me. I mean, check this out. This is CBS's own instant who won the debate poll. It's not much, but for a Republican to win one of these things, especially the vice presidential debate, which is usually the undercard, that's kind of amazing. And it wasn't just CBS. Now, here's a statistic that I did not know, and I'm not necessarily fact-checked this one. J.D. Vance is the first time a Republican Veep ever received over 50% in a Insta poll. And according to Ryan Gedersky, this poll supposedly oversamples Democrats by 5 points. So take it for what it's worth. But yeah, it's kind of amazing. I mean, like I said, these instant media polls.
The only thing I've seen on now I love Twitter. Twitter's like the place that I've learned to love. But when I go over to Facebook, and Facebook has become a leftist cesspool. Literally.
Oh yeah.
That's all you see over there. It's been remarkably quiet. I haven't really seen anything trying to prop Waltz up. I've only seen people just ad hominem attacks against Vance. And back to the Project 2025 stuff. That's all I've seen.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's indicative of the general opinion out there, but they can't defend there's no way you can defend that debate. There's no way you can defend Waltz's performance. It's not as bad as Biden's, but it's
Well, hold on to that thought, because ABC actually might disagree with you. I've got a clip here in just 1 second from ABC last night, and this one blows my mind when I heard it. But last night I referenced something, as you might expect. Frank Luntz is doing one of his famous, focus groups that he normally does at these things, and the instant results last night, he had like a group of 14 people spread out over all the battleground states. Okay. And I've got a clip where you actually hear some of their comments. The 14 people, 12 of them said Vance won this debate. And with that, I want to play a little bit of this clip to give you all a flavor for what they were thinking. Here we go.
He's very battle tested, very ready, and you can just see that he went to Yale, and he's very intelligent, and he reassured a lot of people, I think.
Somebody else.
It was a strong control of the facts. He ran the show.
He remained steady during the whole performance, and I was very impressed with him being very sincere and authentic.
He humanized himself and actually looked like a regular guy.
Like I say, this was Gypsy, I know the meme you're talking about. God, if I could get my hands on it real fast. But yeah, I know the one exactly you're talking about. I saw it last night. But it's so true.
I think Trump's the only candidate in the recent 20 years that has chosen a VP that's probably smarter than him.
Yeah.
At least book smarter than him. He may not be street smarter, but Vance is definitely more book wise than Trump, and Trump wasn't afraid to choose him.
Yeah. And I wanted to play a little bit of that it's like a 4-minute segment on CNN, but I wanted to give everybody a flavor because, I mean, when I saw that total at first, I went, what? No, Frank couldn't have got a focus group that went that decidedly to Vance after this thing.
And I'm thinking that's what a lot of going back to one of the comments earlier, I really think that a lot of independents are thinking that. Ones that have not voted yet, I think they may have won some votes over that way.
Yeah. But well, thank you, Madame, for this. I don't wear my glasses often as I try to, keep the glare to a minimum. I mean, it's bad enough y'all got to look at all this mess, but then you got the glasses on top of that. But thank you very much. I do appreciate that. It wasn't just, Frank Luntz focus group. I got a clip here from CBS, and it doesn't run very long, but listen to this. This might surprise you.
Before the debate started, 2 of the voters said that they were going to vote for Trump. 2 said they would vote for Harris. 2 said they were undecided. But by the end of it, those 2 undecided said they would vote for Trump.
Like I said, I'm not. The dynamics that make up what happened last night, people are probably going to be like, well, it could have been this, it could have been that. Well, whatever the dynamics were that made up last night, something happened that it may have moved the needle. Now, is it a huge amount? We don't know. But I think something definitely happened last night. We'll see how
you only need a 0.5 or 1% move in any of those swing states.
Could be true. Could be very true.
And isn't Trump leading in most of them right now?
Well, it depends on whose polling you look at. I mean,
you see it all over the place. This poll says that poll says that. But I think on the average, I think Trump's got 1% in most of them, at least.
Oh yeah. I mean, either they're right dead tied if you take the average of Real Clear Politics polls, and but honestly, everybody knows how Trump performs in polls. He underpolls going into election day,
which means it could be
a 2 or 3%,
4% swing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got a montage here real fast of people around the media.
Is it true? Can we address this later though? Is it true what I read and what I heard that Kamala has pulled, or the Democratic Party has pulled a lot of their funding away from Kamala's campaign in some crucial states and is putting it toward the down ballot?
There were reports late last week, and I have not got them pulled up in front of me, but I have seen the very thing you're talking about. They're dropping a serious amount of money into Senate races.
I think they're trying to save the down ballot. They know she's going to lose. I think that's what their own internal polling, and they're trying to save the down ballot.
And my question, and not just me, but a lot of other people, is this: after what happened last night, does that accelerate? In other words, they dropped some money in last week, pretty big chunks of it. Like I think I heard like $15 million into Michigan to help Slotkin. Few million here, few million. I mean, spread out all. I say few million like it's monopoly money. It's not. It's very big money. My question is, after last night, and we won't know for maybe a couple of weeks. My question is, are they going to start dropping it even heavier after having watched what Walz did last night? I don't know. We'll see.
It's too late to push him out.
Oh yeah, I mean, someone was kicking around the idea. Oh, and I've got. You know what? No, I'll save it. I've got a meme for later on just on that topic. But I've got a montage here of folks around the media, and the focus groups were one thing. The New York Times is one thing. Media is one thing. But when the people at the networks watching the debate are seeing this, folks, you know it was a bad night. Check this out.
There is no doubt in my mind, however Governor Walz did in terms of sincerity, that Vance won this debate.
Does Governor Walz have a problem with the truth? No.
They were talking at one point, Vance wanted to correct something about how Haitians got into this country. And he was right. And the moderators wouldn't let him correct it. It's very interesting.
But at the beginning, the two issues driving the campaign right now are Harris has a big deficit on the economy. Harris has a big deficit on immigration. And Republicans were happy tonight and Democrats a little bit nervous that on those two issues, Vance carried it.
J.D. Vance is much more experienced at this, at public speaking, at defending himself, at pivoting.
It's the audacity. I agree with you that we're in year 9 and no one knows how to cover the audacity. Mm-hmm. The audacity is it someone should have said, stop it, stop.
By the way, I think watching Nicole Wallace lose her marbles on the air is got to be one of the most glorious things that happened last night.
I know, the whole mansplaining thing.
Oh, I know.
If women are equal, if we have our equality, then we have just as much right to be corrected as anyone. It's like people like her, they want to be equal, but then they don't want the equality when it comes.
Oh yeah.
How dare a man correct me when I'm wrong?
I know. Two more clips real quick.
Sorry.
And no. That's fine, dear. That's fine. I've got one here from NBC, Kristen Welker, the host of Meet the Press. And as you might expect, Democrat operatives and Democrat politicians were messaging members of the press last night. Shocking, I know. But check this out, because the messaging apparently did not go as planned. They didn't plan on sending some of these text messages.
And so I was getting texts from Democrats, panicked, quite frankly, who were saying, wow, he's really moderating himself on a lot of these issues. He's the most likable he has ever been.
And it wasn't just NBC. I've got ABC to go with it here. So folks, do me a favor and check this one out.
One Democratic strategist in a battleground state was actually very critical of Walz's performance tonight, telling us Vance is much better at this than Walz. I don't think it matters much, and there's good moments for both sides. But if I have a frustration, is that I don't know what Walz's strategy was tonight. He said his advice to him would have been, you have one job. Goad Trump into debating the VP again. Let it rip. Now, we have heard from some of those people close to Harris who referred to the performance as, quote, admirable. The DNC chairman, Jamie Harrison, is just across the room here. We spoke to him a minute ago. He said that it was a great performance, that Vance went to law school and was a great debater. And then, of course, the Trump campaign has many people here in the room as well. Donald Trump Jr. is here in the spin room.
Yeah, this was not going nearly the way any Democrat even hoped it would.
And I saw that, just like Trump did after the debate, Vance took questions in the spin room, but you don't hear anything about Walz taking questions.
No. I've got a clip here in just 1 second.
It's like Harris didn't take questions.
I've got a clip here in 1 second that, to me, when I watched it, and I watched it a couple of times, he knew he had a bad debate performance. I mean, the clip is, well, you know what? Let's just play it right now. to kind of set it up for everybody. Now, let me explain what's going on here. The debate took place in New York City last night. So after the debate, Governor Walz and his wife go out and they find a local pizzeria. Okay, and apparently it's a pretty good one, according to Lionel, if you follow his content. But as he's there, and as you might expect, the press is waiting for him because this is just after the debate. Everybody, it's still fresh on everybody's mind. Tim Walz has walked out, and like I say, I am not excusing him as a governor or his actions or anything else, but you can tell from this man's body language, he knew he had a bad night. Watch this.
What do you think your strongest moment was tonight?
Oh, just I think it was a good debate. The public got to see a contrast, and I think the ending sums it up. The democracy issues important.
Governor, you said you become friends with school shooters during the debate. Can you clarify what you meant on that?
Can you clarify what you meant when you said you'd be friends with school shooters?
He's not turning around. He's kind of got a defeated, slump-shouldered sort of look. It's like, yeah, he knows he had a bad night.
The American people got to see the contrast. That's all he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sure did see the contrast.
Oh, boy, did they. Oh, boy, did they. As a matter of fact, one of the most glorious memes of last night. This has got to be one of my favorites. Absolutely one of my favorites. There's just no getting around it.
But you know what? As much as people are giving us a hard time about like trouncing on Walz for that, if Vance had said that, how quickly would they have jumped on it?
Oh, I know. Oh, I absolutely agree with you. Now, you said a moment ago that about talking about the comparison between Joe Biden's debate performance in June and Walz last night. I tell you what, this may be the topper on the cake as far as everybody's opinion. This is ABC, and they know a little something about presidential debates as they tried to scalp Trump in a 3-on-1. Listen to Lindsey Davis's reaction to this thing, and with that, I'll play it. Here we go.
I was struck by that as well. I think it was something that the team working with Donald Trump had hoped he had done during the presidential debate more than he did. J.D. Vance said it repeatedly tonight, saying, listen, she's had nearly 4 years to do that as vice president. Why hasn't she?
I feel like that was really effective. But I think overall tonight, if you're an undecided voter in America, I don't know that you come away with tonight with an additional clarity. It kind of reminded me of the
with all due respect, Lindsey, that's not true, but let us continue.
June 27th debate when Kamala Harris that night said of Joe Biden, it was a slow start, but a strong finish. And that's how I felt that Tim Walz kind of did tonight. You know, to use Tim Walz's own words, I mean, a lot about this debate tonight was weird. There were uncomfortable, cringy moments. But overall, I think my takeaway was something that Reince Priebus said on the outset, which was that J.D. Vance needed to come away as that humble, likable guy from Hillbilly Elegy. It seemed like he did perhaps get some points in that area.
Yeah. What I'm going to be very curious to see, and it won't show up maybe for another 6 or 7 days. And I don't think it's going to move the needle by huge amounts, depending on whose poll you talk about. But I disagree with Lindsey Davis in one aspect. She said, well, if you're an undecided voter, you don't necessarily come away with this any more clarity. I don't know that that's true.
It's not true at all.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's not true at all. I agree with you. You see that, okay, maybe you don't like Trump's style, but you like everything you're hearing that Trump wants to do, but you're still a little undecided. And all you've heard about Vance is he's weird. You haven't read Hillbilly Elegy. You haven't even seen the movie Hillbilly Elegy. You don't know, who Vance is. And then you see this, and you're like, I like all his policies that he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like a normal guy, and he seems polished and professional. I thought MAGA was all a bunch of loose cannons like Trump. Well, now maybe I will vote for Trump because I like what I hear coming from that side better than what I hear coming from the other side, which, let's face it, is nothing. I actually had an argument with a coworker today who wants to vote Harris, who is voting Harris, and she just said, "Well, the problem with Waltz was that he didn't. He just doesn't have enough practice speaking to the press." And I says, "And that doesn't bother you? The fact that both him and Kamala have avoided the press all campaign long, that doesn't bother you? Does that not indicate that it's not really about them? They are placeholders for the bureaucracy that's running this country right now? Because Biden sure isn't. Does that not scare you?" And her only defense, well, they're all just tools of the machine, every single one of them. And I says, I disagree. I don't think the MAGA movement is a tool for the machine. I think they want to go in there and break the machine. At least slow it down. You know.
Oh yeah, I mean the thing about, you know, it doesn't matter whose poll you're looking at. This whole strategy of they're not talking to the press. Oh, and this is a good point, Robert. Robert, I absolutely agree with you. He's a governor of a state. The guy's supposed to be talking to the press every day in one form or another. You know, you mean even after all that, he still can't, even with all of that practice, he goes in and lays an egg this big on a national stage? I mean,
as blue as Minnesota is, and the fact he probably spends most of his time in Minneapolis, which is the bluest of the blue, probably he's in an echo chamber there and everybody just kisses his butt, I would imagine.
Yeah,
so maybe he doesn't have the kind of practice of a press that actually asks
tough questions. Yeah.
Tough questions. But the fact that you have members of the major networks saying that Democratic strategists are texting them, does that not signal to the American people how intertwined the DNC and the press are? You didn't hear them talking about Republican strategists.
Yeah, exactly.
Texting them about how well Vance was doing.
Exactly. I mean, and like I said, it doesn't matter whose poll you look at. The biggest complaint of one of the biggest complaints when it comes to the Harris Walz ticket, nobody knows these two people. This strategy of not talking to the press, and if they do, it's in very controlled settings, is not helping them. I mean, look, for right or wrong, the voters knew what they were going to get with Joe Biden. Okay. A 50-year career in public life. Agree with him, disagree with him, like him, don't like him. You know what you're going to get. Then all of a sudden, the American people, having the expectation that Joe Biden is going to be the Democrat nominee because he's president and he's supposedly running for re-election, all of a sudden, Joe's out, she's in with less than 100 days to go. Okay. Voters are thinking, all right, unusual, but let's check this Harris woman out. Let's find out what she's all about. And they can't find out anything because Harris won't talk. And if she does, she's talking in controlled settings with
pre-recorded, edited.
Well, and not just that, these grand platitudes, very little specifics, very little detail, very little explanation of why this idea goes from point A to point B to point C to make your life better. And the voters are sitting here going, come on, you're asking for my vote. Let's hear it. What do you want? What do you want to do? And the frustration, I mean, it's there in the polling, and it just, this was their last shot, at least as far on a national stage, national television. I heard one stat today, interestingly, because normally vice presidential debates don't get this much attention. They got 63 million viewers for this debate. That's almost what Harris and Trump got in their one debate.
People were interested to see.
Very interested to see. And now it's, now we're down to the execution phase. Get out your vote, rally your voters, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, there are going to be events, and there are currently events shaping, people's opinions going into the election. Obviously, the hurricane, what's going on in the Middle East, the longshoremen strike, etc. But as far as having a clean, unadulterated, shot at having a conversation with the American people, this was it. Because if Trump's smart, he's not going to agree to another debate, nor should he, for that matter.
No, I'm glad he turned down the 60-minute interview too. Why would he go into the lion's den anymore?
Well, but not
He's
even
been
so
in
much,
and out of the lion's den 100 times.
well, but not even so much going to the lion's den. It's like, okay, the last time I went on 60 Minutes, I tried to tell you something, and you sat there and more or less called me a liar to my face, for which you haven't had the good decency to come back and say, well, Mr. President, turns out you were right. So you haven't done, at a minimum, done that. I'm like you. Why, if I'm Trump, why would I go back in there? Especially when I can go on social, I can talk to Theo Vaughn, Aiden, what's the young man's last name? Aiden did an interview down in Mar-a-Lago. Just a whole bunch of social media content creators and get my message out to more people.
Exactly. Have you noticed how many podcasts Kamala has been on? One
that I can think
and it
of.
was a terrible, terrible showing from what I understand.
Oh, exactly. So, and frankly, after last night, and I've been thinking about writing this article, John Cass, when I had the opportunity to interview him, he said, hey, pitch me a column. I mean, I don't know that he'll publish it, but I've got one in my head. You know, I've been verbalizing my idea for how to make these debates better. And after last night, watching those two harpies, O'Donnell and Brennan, run that debate, I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I am
They're
done.
like every mean girl I went to college with. That's what I had visions of while I was sitting there.
Yeah.
They're not, I mean, of course they're real people, but they're not real people in the sense that they live normal lives. Everybody that is defending, most people that are defending Harris are either so far into the LGBT stratosphere that it's diluted their brain, or they're that type of person that does not live in the real world. They have lots of money, the same issues that affect you and me and Robert and Rhonda and M16 and everybody else on this stream. The same issues that affect us do not affect them. They don't care how much groceries cost because their private chef goes and purchases that for them, and they don't care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I absolutely agree with you. I mean, I've always said I used to understand politics through the prism of, you know, the left versus the right, liberals versus conservatives. No, that is
regular people versus elite.
That construct that I've always understood American politics through is gone. It's like you said, the haves and the have-nots, the elites and the everybody else. You know, the gatekeeper media versus, you know, people that are really trying to hunger for news and trying to share the news they've got.
Mm-hmm.
And
Trump talks to everybody. That's what I love about him.
Yeah.
If he had time, he'd probably talk to you and me. If he had time, he would probably talk to you and me. But you know, he talked to Tim Pool. He's been on Theo Vaughn. He's been on the other. And I wish Joe Rogan would just bite the bullet and have him on.
He needs to. He really
He's pretty
does.
much been endorsing him without actually saying it all year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he did come out and say RFK Jr., but who is RFK Jr. with now?
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. I mean, it's TBA over on Rumble says, Brian, that construct never existed. It's always been good versus evil. Yeah. Dude, you're right. You're right. I mean, I have always said I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong. It really is now a question of good versus evil. No, and small time, you're probably right about this too. Dana White probably is pretty pissed at Rogan, but it's Rogan's
There's
podcast.
Still 34 days until the election.
Yeah, and anything can happen. So
it may be being recorded right now. We don't know it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, as you might expect, both presidential candidates were watching their respective counterpart, and we were able, through a network of fantastic spies that we have on the electronic front porch, we were able to catch Donald Trump's reaction to the debate. And with that, folks, we'll go ahead and play this one for you. There you go, folks. Apparently Trump and Vance were quite pleased with themselves. Now, needless to say, as you might expect on the other side, a message was sent out from Kamala Harris, but I don't know that it's really going to do her that much good. Or frankly, given the way she phrased it, I'm not so sure that it's really the best way she could have said it when she apparently turned to one of her aides and said, quote, "Get me that Jew from Pennsylvania now." I don't know, folks. That doesn't seem terribly diplomatic to me. Just, I don't know. Just, yeah. Get me the Jew from Pennsylvania. Wow.
I was beginning. I for a time I wondered if she chose Waltz because Shapiro was just because Shapiro was Jewish. Could be.
Oh, come on. You want to call him gay. You know you do.
No, I don't. Jewish is what I meant.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, well, Walt's definitely gay. I don't know.
Or did she choose Waltz because he's dumber than her? Because he was probably the dumbest of all of them, except when you look over at Illinois, Pritzker. I saw him online, licking Waltz's butt. Come on, you can do it. And I'm like, I don't know who's stupider, Waltz or Pritzker, because both of them are dumber than Kamala, I think.
I almost wish that John Cass, the legendary reporter from the Tribune, were on here with us right now, because he's got a nickname for Pritzker. He calls him Governor Fat Boy. Anytime he writes a column and he's referring to Pritzker, and Governor Fat Boy said, and I'm like, and apparently there's some controversy with Pritzker and golden toilets. What that is exactly, I've got to read one of John's columns and find out, but it just, go ahead.
No. I was just saying, he reminds me so much of Chris Christie.
Yeah.
But I think Chris Christie is smarter.
No, I agree with that. I
always call Christie Fredo, but I don't know what to call Pritzker.
Well, I call him JD Hogg.
Oh yeah, Boss Hogg.
Yeah,
that's exactly who it is.
Or Boss Pritzker, one of the two.
Yeah.
I mean, they're about cut from the same cloth. I mean, it's just the only thing you gotta do is put a white suit on Pritzker, and you got it, man.
Mm-hmm.
10-gallon, a white Stetson 10-gallon hat and a white suit, and there you go.
And I always thought Shapiro was a pretty cool dude for the most part, and then I saw him, autographing missiles, and I'm like,
God.
I understand why you were trying to do that for the people in your state that made them, but it's still a really bad look.
Yeah. Mike Harlow, bless his heart, messaged me after the live stream got over and said, "Hey man, we're doing an after party over on mine. You want to come over for a little while?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So got over there and got to talk to him and some other content creators that he had on that I wasn't familiar with. And one of them asked me, like, "You don't think Shapiro is a potential presidential candidate, in 28? I said, "He might want to do it, but I don't think the Democrat Party, as currently constituted, will let him have it for two reasons. One, he's Jewish, and two, they are pro-Palestinian. That's the whole reason. If you get right down to it, she didn't take the smarter move for her would have been to take Josh Shapiro for Veep. I mean, look, I don't disagree that JD Vance had a good night last night, but here's the one problem in my analysis that I've got. And it's the same thing with Trump when he debated Biden. Was it that Vance and Trump were that good, or that Walz and Biden were just that bad and they made them look even better than what they otherwise really were? I don't know. I don't totally know. I think it might be a little bit of both, but I don't know how much is one and how much is the other.
True.
Yeah.
I don't see the Democratic Party. I mean, with the whole Palestinian question, I'm kind of divided there. And once I think that I truly believe that most of the Democratic Party is pro-Palestinian, but they're also pro-war.
Yeah.
A lot of them are warmongers and they make a lot of money off of war. So they're going to support Israel and send money and stuff like that. And to help Israel in that way, they're going to be slow about it, but they're going to do it the same way they're doing in Ukraine.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the voters, if that's an issue, I think they've already pissed off all of the pro-Palestinian little white girls
Mm-hmm.
that are out there protesting. And I think a lot of them are probably not going to vote for them for just that reason.
Yeah.
And then they're probably not going to vote at all, or they're going to vote for Jill Stein, which is just fine. I have nothing against, I don't like her policies, but I think Jill Stein's a nice person.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, you have the actual Muslims. I think they're divided right down the middle. Some of them are going to vote for Trump because they think Trump's better. Some are going to vote for Kamala, and some are not going to vote for either. They're, again, going to either sit it out or they're going to vote for Green Party.
Yep. Yeah. Which makes me, talking about the Muslim vote, I heard of a poll today that between Harris and Trump was getting about 41 or 42% of the Muslim vote across the country. And Harris is only getting 45 or 46, somewhere in there. And I'm thinking,
they're split evenly, and the rest of them are probably voting Jill Stein.
Yeah. Yeah. And if that's the case in states like Minnesota or Michigan, especially Michigan, that could just spell disaster for Kamala Harris. I'm not saying she couldn't still win the state. She might yet do it. But, oh, gosh, if she's got that kind of a problem going into Election Day, especially now with what's going on in the Middle East, it gets even worse.
And also you got the Teamsters, the actual regular Teamsters, not the leadership, but the rank and file now supporting Trump. That's going to help her in Michigan quite a bit. And what happens with the Teamsters is probably going to leak over to the UAW.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that.
Because they loved Biden. Biden somehow comes off as this union guy. They have no loyalty. Kamala's this elite from California. They have no loyalty to her.
Well, and that's the problem. And I remember, for months before Joe got out, because there was all that pressure on to try and get him out. And a lot of people, myself, pollsters that I listened to, other commentators were like, okay, let's say the Democrats did manage to get him out. Does anybody really think that Kamala Harris is going to appeal to blue collar voters in certain parts of the country, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, or, the northern panhandle of West Virginia, or Youngstown, or any of those areas, or Michigan, or Detroit, places like that? Forget it. It'll never happen.
Well, what Small Town Republic is saying there, if Trump wins Michigan because of Muslims voting for Stein, I'm not going to be able to stop. It's a phenomenon, and it's not just the Muslims. I saw Jill Stein on Charlemagne the God. She went on the Breakfast Club, and it was one of their highest rated episodes ever. So it's not only her, it's not only Muslims, it's also African Americans looking at the Green Party too, because a lot of them have got fed up with the Democratic Party. I would much rather them vote for Trump, because I don't consider Trump's not a Republican.
No.
He's his own thing. We just have to use the Republican Party to be on the ticket.
Yeah.
He's the Unity Party or Freedom Party, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But if they don't vote for Trump, I'd much rather them vote for Stein.
Sure, absolutely. But it's just really kind of amazing to me. But yeah, the debate last night was definitely interesting. So I'll tell you what, we're going to shift gears for a second. And before we do, I'm going to do a commercial for both of us. Ladies and gentlemen, this lovely young lady right over here is Tracy Barkley. She is the proprietrix. Do you want to be called a tricks, proprietrix, dominatrix? I mean, what kind of tricks do you want to be called? Would you prefer dominatrix? I mean, I don't know.
No.
Okay. All right. She does crack a whip, but not that kind of whip. And she cracks that whip on
not for 20 years at least.
Girl, we got to talk after this stream's over with. We really got to talk now. Anyway, she runs a wonderful channel called Gen X Marks the Spot, talking about culture, talking about movies, talking about all kinds of things that are just a load of fun. My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. Y'all can find me on YouTube and on Rumble. Please subscribe to both of our channels, but as most certainly give this young lady oh my Lord, Tracy, look what you've done to my chat. You've already set them on fire. Oh my word. Sea bass, you thing, you. Oh my word! Yeah, we all need Jesus. Yeah, baby. No, I have not seen this actually, Gypsy. I have not seen this at all. All right. I'll give me a second here. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Whitmer.
Oh, and I also saw that the New York State of Appeals is giving the prosecutors in the Trump
oh Lord
bank case, the Trump Deutsche Bank case, hell. They don't like. I think that's going to be tossed out in appeal. The way that I listened to part of that, the way those justices were giving it to oh goodness, what's her face's
Letitia James's lawyers.
Letitia James lawyers, they were raking them down up one wall and down the other. I think that's going to get thrown out in appeal. I really do.
You may be right. Now I'm gonna drop something in chat, or a couple of different things. These are two separate posts on Twitter, and each of them run about 5 minutes. So I'm not, for the sake of time and brevity, I'm not necessarily going to play them here, but I play them because there are some very disturbing reports coming out of the Carolinas and Tennessee as it relates to relief efforts from Helene, that people are like getting messages, hey, don't do anything. Don't help, whatever. I've got the second one that I dropped is like a 5-minute video from Jonathan Howard, who's with the Florida State Guard Special Missions Unit. And he is telling people who will listen to him, and that's part of why he posted this video, that the biggest thing they need right now are helicopters to go into these areas, especially in North Carolina, and rescue people. And they can't get the feds to lift any of the military assets they have in that area to like take choppers in and get people out. There are a lot of privately organized rescue missions that people are like spending their own dime, their own money.
Yeah, it's all private right now, and DeSantis has sent people into Georgia, into North Carolina to help. Trump has sent people sent money, supplies, people in to help.
Yep.
It's all private citizens and local law enforcement and state enforcement. The federal government's doing nothing.
Oh yeah. And I really do. I recommend to all of you guys, take a look at both of those, at your convenience, share them around. But, if what is being reported by these and again, these are anecdotal. I'm putting them out there for y'all's consumption. But if what's being reported by these two gentlemen are true, I'm sorry, how is this not the Democrats' version of Katrina? And again, I'm not trying to, look, this is a disaster on proportion that like nobody can imagine.
But why aren't they acting? Why don't they tell that's the thing. What's the end game there?
Yeah.
Because if you really want to reduce it down to politics, there's two paths you could take there. Either Biden is slowing down the response. He's not intervening in the dock worker strike. He's really not doing anything about the Middle East. So either A, you could be of the mindset that he is trying to tank Kamala because he's pissed off, or B, as far as North Carolina goes, he thinks that's going to prevent a lot of Trump supporters from voting because some of the counties around there are Republican counties, but Asheville is very, very blue. So that's probably going to bite him in the ass. And that's not going to stop these people from voting. I guarantee they're going to be more charged up to vote.
They will crawl over broken glass. And in this case, they might literally be doing it.
Right. And then as far as the Middle East, I don't know what his end game could be there if he's not just trying to tank Kamala. And I think he could intervene in the dock worker strike and get them back to work, but I don't think he will.
Yeah, sadly.
I don't know what he's up to.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Gypsy just sent us something. Thank you, lovely young lady. Tracy, would you kvetz for a second while I pull this stuff down?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell them what you're up to right now.
Well, I just, if any of you are students of history, and I I'm a huge student of history. I just released a video on my channel. Tucker Carlson had a historian on by the name of Brian Cooper that basically took the stance that Winston Churchill was the villain of World War II. I kid you not. Tucker didn't push back on him. It was pretty bad. It was pretty atrocious, some of the things he was saying. And I did a reaction to his whole spiel on my channel, if you're interested. World War II is one of my favorite time periods. So after this stream, if you want to go over and listen to me rant and rave about World War II for about 30 minutes, that video's over there. That's in addition to that, I just released a review of the recently released sequel to a prequel to Rosemary's Baby, Apartment 7A. So it's streaming on Paramount Plus right now. Produced by Michael Bay and John Krasinski. John Krasinski, of course, was Jim on The Office. He did the A Quiet Place horror movie franchise, which was excellent. And him being involved with this one, I was hopeful that this one would also be excellent. It was a good movie. I don't think it was needed, but if you're interested in my full review, go over and check that out.
All right. And with that, Gypsy did send us a couple things, and then I want to put these up here. As anybody who watches this channel knows, memes, we try to find as much to laugh at as we possibly can. And with that in mind, we have some perspective about body language from last night's debate. Just imagine, folks, if this wasn't maybe what both of these guys are maybe thinking. Did you wash your hands? Yes. With soap. You know, that's a good one. That is a really good one. So yeah. When JD's giving you that whole, you know what he's thinking. Yeah, I bet you Timmy didn't wash his hands with soap again.
Is that an intentional look from him? Like, was he giving us the Jim Halpert looking at the camera look from The Office intentionally, or
that's the comparison that everybody's been making?
Or did he just happen to look at the camera and they caught him at the right time?
No, I think it was deliberate. I mean, I could be wrong, but I honestly think it was deliberate. Kind of like
it's
the whole.
Too well proportioned. I think he's giving us the same look he probably gives to his wife if somebody's saying something stupid.
Yeah, exactly. And we also have a, Gretchen Whitmer, this woman, I don't know. I mean, Gypsy, she's your governor. Well, let me rephrase that. She's the governor of the state you live in. I don't think she's your governor by any stretch of the imagination. But she apparently recently cut an ad with Jack Schlossberg. And okay, I'll bite on it. Let's see what this is all about. So apparently they're having a discussion about cheese curds.
Let's play some charades, Jack.
Challenge accepted, Governor. Oh, I know what it is. It's Kamala Harris's plan to give first-time homebuyers $25,000.
Jack, that's incredible. Oh, I know. It's Kamala Harris's plan to keep lowering the cost of prescription drugs and put more money back in people's pockets.
It's Kamala Harris's plan to lower costs for working families by giving a $6,000 child tax credit.
Jack, Donald Trump just doesn't get us. That's what it was. He's never even been to a Culver's, been to a grocery store. He doesn't know our lives. Movie, 2 words. First word. Miscongeniality. Let's play some charades.
Oh, God, this woman. Just,
my God.
Yeah, Seabass. Yeah, I agree. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely, gang. Absolutely.
I see Gretchen still playing Pick Me, even though it's over. Have you noticed that a lot of the other, Democratic hopefuls for VP have kind of stepped aside? Like, you don't see Gavin Newsom campaigning for her. You don't see Shapiro really campaigning for her, other than being the announcer at one of their rallies. The only one you see is Whitmer, and I think Whitmer's the only one that doesn't realize that backing them is political suicide. The others still want to have some sort of political career beyond the 2024.
Well, here's my guess. I think Newsom, Pritzker, Whitmer, Paulus, and Shapiro all got together and they drew straws. And apparently Whitmer got the short straw, and the short straw means you got to actually go out and look like you're doing something for Kamala. Because, I mean, all 5 of them have no incentive whatsoever to help this woman. They really don't. I mean, yeah, they're going to give her lip service, but that's it. That's really all
Andy
they're going to do.
Bashir's totally went. I'm out.
And
You've not seen Andy Bashir. I mean, he's like, I'm a middle of the road, moderate Democrat that the people of Kentucky like. I'm not going to mess that up for anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And bear in mind, he'll probably go the same way as your your senator, the one that
Manchin. Yeah,
Manchin.
yeah.
I think eventually Bashir will go the same way as Manchin, and he'll become an independent, or maybe even switch parties.
Oh, so Schlossberg and Whitmer are both worth $20 million plus. Must be good work.
Yeah,
if you can get it.
I'm sure they don't go to the grocery store either. And who is Schlotzer? I have never seen that guy. Yeah, Schlomberg.
I'm not that familiar with him, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, I mean, this is how much Democrats are now starting to distance themselves off of Kamala. They're like, you got Sherrod Brown, who's the embattled Democrat in Ohio senator, who's running against Bernie Moreno, and that's going to be an interesting race going down to the wire. Which my money's on Moreno for what it's worth, because that's Ohio, and Trump could wind up pulling him across the finish line.
I think we're going to keep the House. I think Trump's going to win. I think we're going to keep the House, and I think we're probably, when it's all said and done, we're going to end up with 51 in the Senate with Vance as the top, as a potential other vote. But
could be.
We only need 50. Remember, guys, to take the Senate, because Vance will have the
tie-breaking vote. Now, Kamala did go down to Georgia today, and we got a couple or 3 clips from that. I'll play them real quick.
Georgia.
Yeah, well, yeah, devil in a FEMA jacket, I guess. Everything with this woman is as fake and staged as it can get. And here's one of the clips where she's, I guess, checking out damage. So here we go. Get out of the way. Empty Kamala. Oh, this is so fake. This is just so freaking fake. Oh my God. Now,
it took her a week to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, that clip would be bad enough, but this one, folks, when the disaster in Maui happened, okay, and FEMA came in and did all the gloriously wonderful things. Oh, okay. Jack Schlossberg is RFK Jr.'s nephew. Okay. Thank you. When FEMA came into Hawaii and did all the wonderful things they did for the people of Maui who had lost everything, okay, there were a lot of folks who were mad, particularly on the right. But now it's in your face. And with that, folks, I want you to hear what the federal government is going to do to make the lives of people in Georgia so much better.
And the federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750 for folks who need immediate needs being met.
Now, mind you, we just gave $8 billion to Ukraine. Zelensky rolled through America and rolled right back out with a commitment for $8 billion. But what are the people of Georgia getting? $750. Let that sink in, folks. These are people that have lost homes, loved ones, whole towns.
You could take that $8 billion and split that $8 billion up between all the states. And have them dole it out as they, as needed, and you would help a lot more people a lot quicker.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah.
$750 a person.
Yep. WWG1 over on Rumble says, reminds me of Clinton going into a disaster zone in a helicopter. He was yucking it up until he saw a camera on him, and then he immediately looks at, I think I remember the very clip you're talking about. I think I remember the very clip. He did the same thing at Brown, his commerce secretary, his funeral. And he's laughing, and then he saw the camera on him, and just, yeah. Paku says, be ashamed, Harris, be ashamed. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, and Robert, I think we all feeling this way, brother. Yeah, $750.
What can you do with that?
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks in a hotel, or one
Maybe.
week in a hotel if you want to
That,
eat.
well, if you've even got a hotel to go to.
If you want to eat a week in a hotel.
Yeah, exactly. And one more clip, and it's just, like I said, this was nothing but photo op. I don't care what I was down there surveying. No, this is a presidential photo op for you.
Same as the picture of her on the plane with what looked like a blank piece of paper writing on a pen. Writing with a pen.
Yeah, Gypsy, you're absolutely right. Their property, their homes, their property, they're gone forever. $750 is doing nothing. Not in this economy. Not in this economy. But, we have Kamala, and now she's ready to listen. Check this out.
Thank you all. Mayor, I am now listening.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Thank you for the press for joining us, and now we will excuse you from the room so we can have this.
Okay, everybody. You can tell she learned this trick from Joe Biden.
So she got her photo op and then decided to pay attention to the people in the room.
Yep. Unbelievable. Wow.
Disgusting.
It is, really. It really is.
And another thing that angers me, if we got to talk about the Middle East.
Sure.
If Biden had just let Israel off the leash and let them do what they needed to do, this would already be over.
Yep.
And if he hadn't sent how many billions of dollars to Iran?
Iran, Hamas never would have had
so
the money.
Glad Vance brought that up last night.
Yeah, absolutely. It's totally legitimate. I mean, if you stop and think about it, we're funding both sides of this thing. Mm-hmm. We gave the money to Iran. Took them a little while to, move it around the Middle East to all the right people, but they got it. And we're now funding the Israeli side of it, a government which, by the way, is running an actual surplus in money. So why exactly do they need our help? Mm-hmm.
You need to let Israel finish it so we don't have to fund it anymore.
Yeah.
And what? All those Islamic countries around there, the ones that are like, Iran is a Shiite Islamic country. Yep. Everybody else, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Jordan, Egypt, they're all Sunni Muslim, which is the more moderate to liberal type of Islam, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't care anything about. They all hate Iran. Saudi Arabia hates Iran, and mm-hmm. They said they don't care. They don't care about Iran. They don't care about the Palestinians. They only care about what affects Saudi Arabia. They are so happy Israel is doing this.
Yeah,
and. If we just go ahead and blow Iran off the face of the earth, or at least blow their government off the face of the earth and let the people there take it over, we won't have any more problems in the area.
Yeah. I mean, sad. And the irony of it is Donald Trump never fired a shot in the Middle East and had more peace in 4 years by the time he was done than most presidents have had over 2 terms or that we've had over the course of the past 25 or 30 years. Without firing a single shot.
Yeah. I think the only shots he fired was the drone shot that killed the terrorist guy.
Yeah. Soleimani.
Yeah. That's the only shot he fired over there.
Absolutely. I tell you what, folks, we're going to go ahead and bring this train into the station. And Tracy, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. I know this was very impromptu. I genuinely do appreciate it.
Anytime. I love hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, it's a load of fun having you on here. And absolutely, like I say, tell everybody where they can find you on social media. And by the way, folks, I say it again, please help this young lady out. Go subscribe to her channel. Follow her on Twitter. Follow her. Well, I'll let you do it. Where can they find you on Twitter and social media, my dear?
You can find me on YouTube at Gen X Marks the Spot. You can find me on Rumble. I'm still at Keto and Crime over there. I haven't rebranded over there yet. And on Twitter, I'm at Gen X Marks. You can find me over there.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Sculpt.
Yep. So yeah, spread the word around about this lovely young lady's channels and her Twitter and everything else. Me, of course, you can always find me on Twitter and on YouTube and on Rumble, and subscribe to my channel as well. Tracy, hang on for a second. We'll say some proper goodbyes. Gang, as I'll be back tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern. In the meanwhile, y'all continue to have fun, surviving hump day and getting ready for another weekend. And with that, just remember, it's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money. We'll see you guys later.